a tutorial on things that we went over in class on Thursday, January 19th. It's targeted for mainly new students who have been enrolled who did not attend class on Thursday, as well as those of you who did attend class on Thursday but may have missed one or two steps and were a little bit concerned about the homework assignment due Tuesday by midnight. So what I'm going to do is do the exact same thing that I did in class, and we're going to start by opening up a new project in Unity. So this is the Unity icon. I'm just going to open it up. If you have not downloaded Unity 3D yet, make sure that you do download it and that you download version 5.5, which is the latest version of the software. It should be, once you do download it from the Unity website, it should automatically download to the latest version. So this 2D module folder is the project folder that we made in class. I'm actually going to create a whole new one for this tutorial so that we are all on the same page. When you start Unity, instead of seeing this screen, you may be seeing one that says like user and password asking you to log into Unity. I'm already logged in. That's why my screen looks like this. I suggest that you do make a Unity account and that you are always logged into it. It will allow you to download Unity assets from the Unity Asset Store, and it's very convenient. However, in class in room 119, the computers do not allow you to log into your Unity accounts. So it's strictly on your personal laptops that you can do this. So I'm going to go ahead and start making this new project. I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to name this something with a 2D name on it. Oops. I'm going to name it 2D unit. Make sure that in the options right here on 3D and 2D that you have 2D selected. So I'm just going to select that option. Make sure as well that you are aware of the location of where this project is going to be saved to. Right now, mine's going to be saved into Documents, Game Design Modules, a folder that I made. I'm going to hit Create now. What I want to show you, right now, Unity does take a little bit to assemble all of the folders and standard packaging of the project. So don't worry if it takes a little bit longer than mine. What I want to show you before we actually start diving into Unity is looking at that file that we just created within our local drive. So if I go to my computer and I go to Documents where I had saved that folder in Game Design Modules, I will see that 2D unit folder that I just created. If I click on it, it's going to have all these, this file as well as these other folders. The one that you really need to be concerned with is the Assets folder. That's where we're going to be storing everything in the game within Unity. And then all those changes and additions are going to be reflected inside the folder in your local drive. This library, project settings, and temp folders are very important. Never delete them. Always have them within that folder. They allow the computer to read the Unity files. So never remove these. All right, let's go back into Unity. Mine may look a little bit different. The gray background right here just means that I have a pro license. You will be using the free or personal edition license, which is completely fine. There really is no difference between the two. Another thing that may be different from mine to yours is the window layouts. And we will change all of that in a second so that you and I have the same layout. But the first thing that I want you to do is to close this tab that says Services. So you're going to right click and close the tab. You won't be needing that at all throughout the semester. So let's look at the window layout. So if we go to our options here in window layouts, just click the 4x4 split. Sorry, the 4 split. We're not going to need all these. We're just going to delete 2 by right clicking, closing the tabs. And then right here, we're gonna hover over this scene tab. Gonna right click and hit add tab game, and then we're just gonna delete this one that we have extra. This is the layout that I always have. I prefer it because I can see both the scene and the game tabs, which are really the most important. And the other important information is on my right hand side. So now our layout should be identical. So the scene mode that you see right here is where we build the game. It always has a grid like this. If we hit the 2D button, we will be able to see the entire plane in 3D. Now, if you hold down the Alt key, this is a shortcut, by the way. If you hold down the Alt key, this eye icon will show up, and if it allows you, if you hold down on your left mouse button, it allows you to see the entire area. So I really recommend you to have a wireless or wired mouse instead of using a trackpad, because it will really allow you to navigate the space much better and allow you to also use some shortcuts that you would not be able to use with the trackpad. So to exit out of this 3D mode, we're just going to hit the 2D button again. And now we're just in a 2D plane. The game tab shows you how the game looks like from the camera's perspective. The camera is this white rectangle that we see in the scene view. If you go to your hierarchy, the hierarchy is a list, really, of all the objects and assets that you have within your scene mode. If you press down on this button right here, this is the name of our scene, which is this whatever we had on the grid, and you will always have a camera attached to your scene when you first make a scene or when you make a new project. That's just a very standard thing that Unity attaches. And as you can see, now that I have it highlighted, we can see how big the camera is. We can see a camera preview of what the game looks like. What else should I show you? The project tab just shows you all of the items within your assets folder. It's good for organization. It's good for letting you know where things are. And it's also how you drag and drop items and things that you would need for your game inside the project folder. We will be doing that in a little bit. The last important thing that you see on the screen is the inspector. Every single object that you bring in or into the every single object in the game, will have these list of components in the inspector. A component is just something that you can attach to the object. Right now, a component that you see is a transform. This component allows you to size, resize the game object. It allows you to rotate it, allows you to change its position within the scene. And this specific game object, which is the main camera, also has this camera attribute. And what it does is it does several things, but the two main things that you really want to know right now are the background color and the projection and the size. If I click on background here, this color range pops up and I can change the color of my camera background. I'm just gonna make it this blue. You can change it whatever color you want. And then alpha doesn't really do a whole lot, but really it's just transparency. Okay, so projection really just means orthographic is what we're always gonna have selected in cameras up until the midterm project. It's just really a 2D camera. The perspective camera is a 3D camera, and I'm gonna show you really quick how that looks like. You don't really see a difference now that I changed it within the 2D plane, but it makes all the difference when we come out of it. So if we hit the 2D button here and we go into the 3D mode, you will see this cone shape to the camera. And pretty much that's very similar to what a movie camera is. It's just the viewpoint of a 3D space. But we're not going to use that. So I'm just going to put it back into orthographic and let me show you how that looks. You see, it's like just a 2D uh, plane. All right, let's go back to 2D mode. By the way that I've been zooming in and out of the space like this is with the middle scroll button on my mouse. And then if I hold down on it, I can move a scene around. Okay, so that's it for layout. The size, by the way, on the camera, if I hover over, these two little arrows will show up. And if I hold down the left button and move it left and right, I will resize the camera. Right now, I just hit Control Z to undo everything. The next thing that I want to show you is how to save the project folder and save the scene. Saving the project folder, you go to File, Save Projects, and that will just sync and save the entire assets folder, the entire folder that we created called 2D Unit. Now to save the scene, which is pretty much how you save every new level, if you will, within your project, is that you go to File, hit Save Scenes, and you're going to store it in your assets folder here. I'm going to name it Test 1. You can name it whatever you want. And I'm going to save it right there. And now we'll see that scene is right there in that assets folder. What I really like to do to organize things so that I don't have a million different types of files within my assets folder is to create other folders within the assets folder to organize everything. So I make a scripts folder, animation folder, a sprites folder, I make a 3D model folder, etc. just to keep myself organized so that I know where I'm allocating everything in my game and it doesn't get lost. So how you make a new folder is you highlight the assets folder within the project tab. You're going to right click and you're going to go to create folder. And if you add an underscore to the name of the folder, it'll always be within the first folders to be up in the list. So I like to do that, especially with my scripts folder, so that I always know to access it. I don't have to look through the list. I can just go straight to the first item. Another folder that I'm going to create is animations. I'm not going to underscore that one because I don't feel it's as important as a scripts folder. But you can put an underscore if you would like. I'm also going to make a sprites folder. For now, that's really everything that we need. Actually, let's make one more folder called SFX for sound effects. Alright. And I'm also going to make a scenes folder. And this one I'm going to do an underscore for. Okay, and this scene that we made, I'm going to drag it into that scenes folder now that we're a little bit more organized. Cool. Now I'm just going to save the project and save the scene. You can also hit Control Save to save the scene. Now that everything's saved and synced, I'm going to show you how to import some art assets so that we can start to actually build, or rather design a level for this little 2D tutorial that we're making. So the first thing that we're going to do is to bring in a standards 2D folder that Unity already has pre-made. How we're going to do that is we're going to go to Assets, Import Package, 2D. And then it'll be compressing everything. It'll have all these things in it, and we're going to hit Import. And now that folder will show up in our Assets folder as well. The second thing that I want you to do is to go to the Classes Sakai page and click on the Resources tab. And you're going to download this 2D Art Assets zipped folder that I put up. Once you download it, you are going to unzip it. And when you open it, you will see that there are these folders with a bunch of items that we can use to make a game. And this is what you're going to use to do your homework. You're going to use all these items and design a little level with all this stuff. And I want you to bring in from the enemies to the tiles folder. These are all the folders that you're going to bring in into the assets folder. Now how you're going to do that is I selected all of these items with shift. I'm going to go to Unity, and the way that you bringing any type of folder or any type of file into your assets folder is literally just to click and drag. So I'm going to drag all of these files into my asset folder like so. And that's how you import things to Unity. It's very easy. The second thing that I'm going to import is an audio file that I had already downloaded so that we can add music into our game, which is right here. It's going to drag it into assets. I drag everything into assets to keep myself organized in the beginning, but now that I already have all these things within my assets folder, I'm going to allocate them to the separate folders that I already created. So I'm going to take my music file and I'm going to put it in SFX, and I'm going to take, you know what? No, I'll leave the other files alone, the other folders alone that we just dragged in. I was going to put them into the sprites folder, but since they're already organized in their own folders, I'll just leave it as is. So I'm going to go ahead again and save the project to sync everything in and save the scene. And now we are ready to start making the game.